Aaron. I'll be your therapist today. How are you?
Okay.
All right. Before we get started, I'm going to go over some key points about confidentiality and informed consent, if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So the informed consent form that you signed whenever you were doing your paperwork earlier, that means that none of the information that is said here today during this session will be disclosed to anyone unless you give me permission to. The only way that I will have to report anything to anyone is if you are a harm to yourself or others. Other than that, anything you say will be totally in confidence between you and me today.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
Perfect. So if you want to go ahead and tell me why you're here and what's going on, we can get started.
Yeah, so I'm here to kind of work on some things. I've been having problems with anxiety my whole life, really, which has led to anger management, outbursts towards, friends and family,
Right.
and I don't know, kind of failure to control my emotions.
Okay.
The reason why I came here is, I don't know, just a lot of my family, I don't know, like they want to help, but they don't necessarily understand what's going on. So
Right.
I recommend I talk to someone professional.
Gotcha. So you're maybe feeling a little overwhelmed from your anxiety and life and not being understood by your parents while you're going through all this?
Yeah, I mean, I understand not being understood. I mean, especially and I actually appreciate that because I don't really like it when I talk to people who haven't been through this
Right.
and they say, "Oh, I understand." Well, you don't. So I like that they're being honest, and I like they're definitely in support. But
They
it
can't
had
necessarily relate.
yeah, it had to get to a certain point for that support to arrive, and that's what scared me, and that's why I'm here.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you've had anxiety for essentially you said your whole life, as long as you can remember.
Yeah, and I've had outbursts, I've had outlashes, anger issues my whole life as well.
Okay.
To the point actually where in college, I wasn't allowed to come home unless my dad was home. So my mom was scared to be at the house with me by myself, and it wasn't because I'd hurt her or anything like that. It was just that these outlashes. I mean, they're scary. I throw stuff. It scares me. So yeah.
Right. So it scares you because that's not your normal self. That doesn't feel normal.
Right. And yeah, just to be honest, like I know that you do have to report if I try to commit suicide or anything, but I have had thoughts.
And that's totally normal. People have suicidal thoughts often. It's to the point where
you act on them or not.
right. It's the only thing that is concerning is that if you create a plan and then try and act the plan out. Other than that, you can talk about your suicidal thoughts all day, all night, and I won't report any of that until it does come to a point that you have a plan. Right.
And but I just wanted to be honest because I am ready. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of having this anxiety. I'm tired of outlashing at people that are just trying to love me and have fun. I've lost relationships. I've lost friends, and I went through a breakup recently because the anxiety overran, which led to me having a complete breakdown and self-imploding. So.
Yeah. Do you mind if we explore the breakup a little bit and kind of what happened after that?
Sure. Yeah, sure. All right, let's do it. I found this girl about 8 months ago. Or I met this girl about 8 months ago, and we were friends for a long time. I think both of us were kind of like dating each other while dating other people, like kind of open. And then 2 months ago, we made it official.
Okay.
She was going to nursing school, so she was like, "Look, when I go to school, it can only be me, right?" Like, So I understood that. But yeah, we made it official, and I gotta be honest, like, this girl did more to me in 2 months than, my ex did to me in 2 years.
When you say she did more to you, are you talking about?
Like showing me, no, I've nothing bad, she's never hurt me, like, I have nothing bad to say about the girl at all.
Right.
She's great, I've never been in a relationship where a girl has, like, made me breakfast, like, before I'm even awake, like,
Sweet gestures.
she did all that, she did the sweet gesture, she helped around the house, like, she helped, like, she'd give me a back massage when I was tired or stressed, but it got to the point where my anxiety was making me self-destruct, so I guess the way it all started was I started losing control of my finances,
Okay.
and
That can turn life into a very stressful situation whenever you don't feel like you have control of your finances.
yeah,
I understand
and I was already almost broke, and then I got a paycheck from my job for only $100. They had messed up the pay.
Oh wow.
They had messed up the pay on a previous check, and instead of, like, telling me or notifying me or doing anything, they just took the money out of this check. So I had only $100. Rent was due. I owed like $3,000 in bills.
Oh my.
And instead of getting a $3,000 paycheck, I got a $100 paycheck. So yeah, that cranked my stress. It was right before Halloween. I had to then overshift, and I developed bad habits.
Okay, so what kind of bad habits did you develop? It's okay.
I abused my Adderall prescription heavily. I worked 20 hours a day, about 6 days a week. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I just worked.
From what I'm hearing, it sounds like you were really trying to push yourself and maybe pushed yourself a little too much during that time.
Well, now I know that I was, because I'm not taking the Adderall anymore.
Okay.
And so, like, but with the Adderall and, like, the Red Bull and the caffeine, so I would wake up, I would take 2 of my Adderall when I was only supposed to take 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. I'd take 2 in the morning, and then I would go buy a quad shot espresso, or cappuccino,
Yeah.
and just, like, crack myself out to grind harder than anybody in the office would grind me. At lunch, I would take 2 more Adderall. I would drink a large, like the extra large Red Bull, sugar free, and to keep grinding. And then I'd take another Adderall when I clocked out of the office, and I'd clock in for a lift, and I'd pick up a 5-hour energy and another extra large Red Bull.
So you were using your Adderall prescription and caffeine and
all uppers,
sugars, all these stimulants to make sure that you got everything done during your day.
And then, but when I get home at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning or whenever, so
after you were working for Lyft, you would get home that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was so up that I wouldn't sleep. I went days, and
without sleeping.
Yeah, but I was so mind flipped by the Adderall, I guess, or whatever it was, or the drive. I don't know what it was. I would like to put blame somewhere, but at the end of the day, it was me pushing myself harder than I ever have, and I think the Adderall
just amplified all of that.
Well, not only amplified it, but, like, gave me courage to continue doing it.
Oh, okay.
And that's a weird thought to have, but, like, if I was tired or if I was, like, bummed out or depressed or anything like that, I would take the Adderall because it was such an upper that it wouldn't just wake me up, it would also boost my mood.
Right. It's kind
so
of a cure-all at the time.
It distracted me, but then my girlfriend, we started going out to, like, bars and stuff to drink and meet her friends and all that, and I don't like people, I hate people, and we can talk about that next. or later.
Okay.
But
whatever you would like to talk about and focus on is totally up to you.
well, yeah, like I'm definitely like stated earlier, like I'm ready to beat this. So I would like to bring everything up and just
Yeah, I hear you talk a lot about change and
yeah.
how you want to change. So you've already kind of hurdled that first leap of, being ambivalent and if you don't want to change. But I can see that you are already very determined to make this change.
Yeah, I'm ready for sure. I mean, because I'm seeing that, like that girl, like, and my friends told me because my friends talked to her and all that. Like, my ex girlfriend, she loved me. Like, I knew it because the way she would stare at me, the way she would look at me, like, I knew it was there. But I self imploded so much that it canceled that, and that's
Wow.
love. Like, love is, I know that love is a very hard feeling if I can just kill.
Yeah, that's difficult.
And that's how bad. So I'm lucky that I only lost her, to be honest. Because if I lost anybody else on there, I could have gotten the courage to pick up the phone.
Yeah, and you're doing the right thing, and it's okay to not be okay in the moment and at times, but just know that you will be okay because you have reached out to get the help and you're doing the right things that you need to do to get the help.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you for that.
But we went out to the bars and like the anxiety from like spending money but not having money and having to meet these new people and like make a good impression because they're my girlfriend's friends.
Right.
Yeah, that anxiety, like
that's a lot to put on yourself.
Like my anxiety, like I'm a very energetic. Like I show my energy. Like you can tell when I'm sad. Like I wear it, and it causes the people around me to wear it.
You wear your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, or I know that my anxiety gave her anxiety. My anxiety, it caused me to not be able to keep the house clean. So when she came over, she came into clutter, which it causes anxiety for anybody. But I was like,
right.
I was working so hard and so much that I just legitimately didn't have time to clean the house.
Right. You're starting to interfere with your daily kind of functioning.
Oh yeah, that felt good. Yeah. It was more than my everyday functioning. It was starting to destroy my life, and that's why I want to be here.
Okay.
So Halloween night we went out, and she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, we're gonna go," but I was at the bar and I hadn't even gotten it. Like I was like maybe 2 drinks in and hadn't even got my second drink yet because that's how slow the bar was or backed up it was. And so like I was kind of like, hey, I haven't gotten a drink yet. It's Halloween night. Like what, And my anxiety came out a little bit in my response, and that kicked off her anxiety. So
okay.
Then she left.
Do you get anxiety in social situations often like that, or is it specifically
Yes.
because of the financial stress you were having that night?
It's a little bit of everything. It's the people around me.
Okay.
If I'm having trouble finding, like it just all piles up. But yeah, usually when I go to the bar or in public, I'm always anxious or on edge.
Yeah, social anxiety, it affects a lot of people. It's totally normal to have social anxiety. I know it's not fun, and obviously you don't want to have that and you want to change. But if you wouldn't mind, is that okay if I tell you a little bit about what I know from anxiety? So it is, it starts in your parasympathetic nervous system. So it's actually your body's natural reaction to stressful situations. It's from your old brain. And so say, you're in the jungle fighting for food, and then all of a sudden you need to have a fight or flight reaction that kicks in. And then you start to have, all these feelings, and you get dry mouth, and, your skin gets tingly, your heart beats fast, you get dizzy, you get tunnel hearing, tunnel vision. All of those things are natural reactions from your body trying to handle a stressful situation. Even, and nowadays we're not having stressful situations where we're fighting for food in jungles because we're advanced, but even in safe situations, your body can still have those reactions. So with anxiety, there are some toolboxes and some things that, we can work on and talk about to hopefully help you work through some of those things if you're open to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I'm ready to stop acting out and stuff and start focusing on, I don't know, finding the joy instead of thinking about the darkness. But yeah, and so Halloween night, like, but everything was fine. She was just sick. Like, she even told me, like, I even kissed her goodbye and it was fine. But I was been drinking. I was on Adderall. I took Adderall just to go out to the bar, and the drink of choice all night, not just one or two, but probably like 7 or 8 or 9. I mean, I walked out of there with like $100 bill.
Yeah.
I was drinking Red Bull vodka all night.
So energy
And
drinks, alcohol, and the Adderall.
and like, and then I turned around and like I was alone. Like my girlfriend wasn't there. My friends were, dancing or doing their own thing, and like I just saw the people around me in the costumes and like not, I don't know. I snapped and I went and found my friend. He was on the phone talking to his date or the girl he's interested in but not interested in. And I flipped out. I slapped a drink out of his hand. I slapped the phone out of his hand, and I imploded.
Sounds like the whole situation was just really overwhelming for you, and it catalyzed your anger.
And I kept drinking, and finally got home. I sent a text to my friends that a group chat that included my girlfriend, and I said horrible things. I don't remember what I said because I was so embarrassed that I deleted the text. And
right.
So yeah, my girlfriend didn't want to talk to me or come around me for like 2 days until she figured it out, and then she finally came over on Saturday and broke up with me. And I didn't handle the breakup well. It wasn't really like she was like I could tell that part of her wanted for me to just be me and everything would be okay, and then the other part of her was like just completely done. And I could see that there was still an option to flip her over to give me another chance. And she even said okay, but she just needed space and time, and I needed time. And she told me that I needed to work on the anxiety and focus on like taking care of my general health and
right. Focus on yourself and your goals and aspirations.
But mainly focus on what I was doing myself. I mean, she knew what I was doing. So, I imploded, like I tried to chase after her and like I tried too hard and it became too much for her, so she was like, you just need to stop. And then, so I fell apart again, like I missed her, so my brother came to town, and really, my brother came to town because I sent my family a text message basically yelling at them like, why don't they call me back? Like, why don't they fucking text me? Why don't they respond? Like, my brother's busy, I get it, but he's very materialistic, and a large part of me knows that he and his life is his main focus.
Right.
Not necessarily like family.
And you're a caring person, and family is a high value that you have.
I'm 100% love for everybody. I don't care if it's family or not. If you call me, I answer the phone.
Right.
You
would want someone to do the same thing for you that you would do for them in that situation.
Yeah, and so I sent the text and chewed him out, and they got the message. He sent me a text saying that he had been a bad brother. Sorry. He came out on Thursday after we had been talking about everything and the thoughts that I was having, the suicidal thoughts, and how I was in a dark place and how I was in trouble with finances. And I was like, man, I just need someone to come out here to just
be in your presence.
Well, not that, but that's like my brother is very successful and he's older, and extremely successful and financially smart. So I want to sit down and come up with a financial plan and come up with
there you go.
Do financial planning, like start making changes. Like
right.
The second I lost Amber, the second that a girl that I knew loved me, the second she told me what I needed to work on, I was ready to change, because I don't know why, it was only 2 months, but we've been friends in each other's lives for 8, and like for some reason my heart just latched onto her.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of time to spend with someone. I mean, don't downplay
And
the feelings that you had for her just because of a time
in a
constraint.
romantic way, you know, and we spent a lot of time together, you know, like almost every other day, or not every other day, but you know, like 3 or 4 days a week, you know.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of time
Yeah.
with someone else.
Yeah, and so yeah, seeing losing that again, because I've had people, I've had so many people and like girlfriends and friends cut me out of their lives because of my anxiety and my outlashes or my failure to control. So I was tired of doing it again. So now I'm here, but
You really want to focus on being able to handle and control your emotions and
and
help your anxiety.
And my brother came out, and I wanted to sit down and just come up with a plan on how to do that. And my brother didn't really have the experience in that, like how to talk to somebody that's going through this.
Right.
So instead, he came out and took me to party with all of his friends, instead of like taking time to meet my friends, or like my family doesn't know my friends, they don't know. Whereas like they see my brother almost once a month, they see my sister almost once a month.
Yeah.
But they haven't seen me in a year.
It's a long time to go without seeing your family.
Well, what the hell is that? Like why? Like why would you rather go to Germany and go on a cruise with someone that you don't really like doing that with, instead of coming out to see your son, who you know is in financial turmoil and emotional trouble? Because this isn't the first time I called. Like I've been struggling for a while, and I got hurt by that. And we went to a college football game. He took me to a college football game at one of the most anxiety-filled times of my life. I had a panic attack at the stadium.
Oh wow!
Or walking into the stadium so bad that I had to go to first aid and get a Buterol or a nebulizer.
Right.
And get on
acid
nebulizer.
treatment.
But he didn't take me. A girl that he was flirting with, or not flirting with, a girl that he knew that one of his friends was flirting with, was the one that ended up taking me. And I just felt like, why the hell is my brother here? And then when I got back, the anxiety kicked in again so bad that I had to leave at halftime. And then my brother, instead of like coming to find me or anything like that and just sitting down and talking with me, just texted me. He's like, hey, we're all going to the bar for the Bama game. Come. And so that's when I snapped, and I found one of his friends, and I told him about my suicidal thoughts and everything, and my self-destruction. He couldn't necessarily handle it, but again, like I'd been drinking, again I was on Adderall, like I couldn't.
You were just trying to reach out to someone who would listen.
Yeah. And then my brother's friend like told my brother. It took me until like 9 o'clock that night to find my brother, and like nobody would help me or anything. So like I was losing faith in humanity. I was having these thoughts of like, why am I here anymore if the world's like this? And so when I finally met up with him, he was like, we're going home. I was like, no man, like, let's go for a walk and talk something. He's like, no, we're going home. My friend just told me what you told him. You're looking like an idiot, like we need to go home. And I was like,
well, first off, you don't look like an idiot.
So I know, but you have to understand that my brother has never seen someone do this. Like most of his friends are pretty mentally stable, or at least hide it well. I don't think he's ever seen something go this bad. So
right.
He didn't really know what was up. And when we got back to the house and when I was finally able to talk to him and finally calm down, that's when I told him that I was ready to die. And he started crying and hugged me. And he didn't know necessarily what to do. I wouldn't know what to do if he told me that. So he hugged me and we cried it out for a little while. That's when I was trying to talk to my dad, and my dad finally called me, and he had just gotten out of work. It was 2 o'clock in the morning by this time, so 4 o'clock in the morning here. And he had just gotten out of work, and I, imploded again, and I told my dad that I was ready, and he didn't really know. He just started yelling at me, and everybody just kind of started yelling like that was the response, because they didn't know. Like they had no idea that I was.
Right, it's hard for them to understand what you're going through.
Well, they didn't know I was this close, or they didn't know I was this bad, because they hadn't talked. They hadn't answered the fucking phone call, or they hadn't answered the phone calls.
Right. Which maybe that made you feel isolated and lonely, and that just exacerbates your anxiety.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, like they come into a situation where I'm maxed out, ready, and they have no idea how bad it is, and you know. So I sent a text to everyone in a group text and kind of just stayed in my car that night, parked in the lot, and sent a group text to family telling them that I should probably leave the family.
Did anyone respond?
Well, I told them that like I was sorry, that I was putting them through this. Like I feel bad that I put everyone through this. Like Amber, my ex-girlfriend, she never deserved to go through So I'm sad. Like I'm sad that I'll never be able to make it up to her probably.
But don't feel bad for.
Yeah, I know, but it's still a part of me is like, damn, like that girl did a lot, and and part of me wants to show her that I'm better, but I understand now that that's not gonna happen. I've come to terms with that. I think the best thing I can do is just give her what she wants, and that it's not me in her life.
Right. If she wants space, then
so
respect that and focus on yourself and your goals and values. And what are some of your goals and values? Like, where would you like to see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years?
I tried to come up with a plan after that was pretty toxic, or not toxic. It was actually, I guess, good, but it was the gym 3 times a day, stretching every hour, eating some sort of snack every hour because I wasn't eating.
You're trying to keep yourself busy, trying to keep your mind off things, right?
But it didn't really work.
So
every time I have downtime, every time I close my eyes, every time I think, or I would think, I think of her or who she's with, or it's just poisonous. I think about how much people are, the world's dying and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, intrusive thoughts can sometimes be overwhelming, and
we're no longer creatures of aid. We're creatures of destruction. We're a plague, and we see it, and the evidence is there, and we treat each other horribly. The human being treats other humans horribly.
Some, yeah.
80%. I've traveled for 7 years of my life. I've been all over the world. 80% of people are pure evil.
Yeah, you're right. There are definitely bad people out there.
And I know that it's probably, I think that way because it's loud. They're louder and more obnoxious than the good. But
they're more noticeable.
The good people need to start stepping the hell up before there's no one left.
Kind of like how you're doing. You're a good person stepping up and taking control of the situation. You should be proud of yourself for that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it makes me sad that I feel like there's just so